Okay, this series just hit all of the right notes for me to want to continue watching it. It had really good setup, great characters, wonderful art style, and then on top of that, it has just so much that just makes you think about what is going on here with the first episode that I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna like Banana Fish. This is definitely one of those type of series that could easily be the dark horse of the anime season. Now, apparently this series, I don't know much about the history of Banana Fish, like this series, but apparently this series has been around for a very long time. Apparently, the content within this first episode, it was made a little bit more modern. For instance, there was never smartphones or anything like that in the original manga, and because of this anime adaptation, it's made it a little bit more modern. We have cell phones and stuff popping up throughout the episode, which showcases that they're trying to make this more modern, which I think is a really cool thing. We saw this happen in Parasite. If you've ever watched Parasite, then most likely you're very aware of how that was made a little bit more modern compared to its manga equivalent. It's to kind of get everything up to speed and kind of fill in some gaps that wouldn't no longer make any sense because of just how the writing was done in the past and with how this new age of stuff is done. So I'm glad to see something like this. This could be a good or bad thing depending on where the series takes it, but at the same time, this is Studio Mappa that has done a tremendous job in recent years when it comes to their anime adaptations. So I mean, I have full faith that this is going to be a very beautiful series that is well done and probably one of the best series of Summer of Anime 2018. But okay, before I go any further than that, Banana Fish, the name, very weird name. I want to be honest. The name, just Banana Fish, just stands out. It's a very pizzazzy name. You're like, whoa, that's quirky. Like, I like that. Now, the story, the concept of it, I know many of you are wondering, okay, so Chibi, you're saying you're liking it. What's it about? What is Banana Fish actually about? Is it something worth my time? Well, from what I can see from the first episode, like, it's still a big blur on what's going on because there's just so much going on. Like, there's so many details that were thrown at you with this first episode that you're still trying to get a kind of a good grasp of what is even happening here. But from what I can personally understand is that there is a crime syndicate and there's gangsters, and then you have something to do with the military doing something with this drug. Like, there's this drug called, I'm assuming, Banana Fish, that is causing people to just have spasms, and have seizures and stuff, and they go completely crazy to where they no longer are their self. And pretty much you have this crime syndicate that obviously is either created it or they're selling it to people, but whatever the case may be, we know that this has something to do with multiple different factions or organizations within this series. And on top of that as well, we do know that our MC, Ash, has something to do with it to where he wants to figure out what happened to his big brother. His big brother was in the military, and he was a swell guy. He was like a commander. He led his, his fellow, army soldiers, his people, and eventually he succumbed to this drug somehow, and now he's basically like a vegetable. He no longer is his, glorious self he was in the past. And his brother, Ash, wants to figure out what happened to him. Now, he's obviously not an innocent individual. He leads a gang which directly works underneath the crime syndicate, which aka is the mafia, and he figures out what he needs to do, doing jobs for them or whatever. Now, Ash does state multiple times throughout, the episode that they're on equal grounds. For instance, Ash's group and, the crime syndicate, they're on level footing. Like, they are not one above the other. They're not the dogs of the crime syndicate, but it's very apparent when you watch the episode that Ash's group is underneath them. They're being controlled in different ways. But the big point here, though, is that the main purpose of the series is figuring out whatever this drug is doing, where it's coming from, and figuring out why people are acting like they are. That's the big point with the first episode. Besides that, there's a lot of other questions I have, but that's the main, I guess, point of the story thus far. Now, if you like Crime Syndicate series, gangsters and stuff like that, and then I think you're gonna like this. If you're not a big fan of stuff like that, then obviously, skip past this, because it's definitely not gonna be a series for you if you don't like that type of stuff. It does seem like it's gonna be action, thriller, and psychological, and on top of that, it might have some BL tones, which, yeah, let's get into that. Now, I know when I say the word BL or yaoi, it's going to turn everybody off from the series. I know for a fact already many of you are clicking off the video, or you're probably writing in the comments like, oh, it has BL, oh, it has yaoi. You're like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I already know many are going to be saying that in the comments. I sense that, okay? I just know that, because that's how people are. And, you know, I understand everybody has their preferences. I don't personally like yaoi genre. I don't go out of my way to watch yaoi or, you know, BL or anything like that, but if it's a good story, I will, okay? I will do that. It's why I love Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice was an amazing story, had great music, great art and animation. I know people like to give that a lot of crap, but I love Yuri on Ice. It's a great series. And so, just because this has yaoi elements doesn't mean I'm going to hate on it. And I don't think people should judge it just for that alone. And it's very obvious that it's not the main focus of the series, but it's very apparent that there is some undertones of it. For instance, like, there's something going on between Ash and then the main head honcho of the crime syndicate. It seems like they've had some form of relationship in the past. For instance, there's this very suggestive scene throughout the first episode when Ash is talking with this old man that's leading the crime syndicate. He puts his hand on Ash's shoulder, and just the way it looks, the demeanor of it, you can see that there's something going on there. But there seems to be more manipulation going on there than anything else. And I mean, also the way he talks to Ash in that entire scene, it's just, there's definitely some very provocative messages. And I think overall that, I think that suits the tone of the series, and I think it actually will probably do well to expand upon certain characters to see what has happened, for instance, Ash, and what, you know, he had to deal with while growing up. So, I mean, I think that the tones of it, it's not bad. I think it actually is great with the story from what I've seen so far, and it adds a different level or theme that we don't normally see in anime and manga, so I personally welcome it. But getting back on topic, though, basically, this first episode, the art style reminds me a lot of Devilman Crybaby. I don't know why, but the art style really reminds me of that. And when I say Devilman Crybaby, I'm talking about the anime. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, the entire design of our MC Ash looks like our MC, one of our MCs in Devilman Crybaby. And I'm like, yo, is this by the same writer or something? I don't really know who the writer is of this series, but it has to be someone related, or it has to be from the same timeline, for instance, when they were writing manga, because the art style is very similar. Like, we know Devilman Crybaby, it's a very old series, and, you know, it kind of got, remade into what it is now in anime form on Netflix, and I feel like this series, since I know for a fact I was told that it was an old series that's been, turned a little bit more modern now, I feel like this most likely came out around the same time as Devilman Crybaby, because like I said, art style just really stands out to me in terms of the way it looks. But, okay, so anyways, is it worth watching? I personally think it is. I think it had a great start. It definitely is not going to be a series that's going to be easy to follow, from what I could see, because there's just so much information jam-packed in the first episode that people can easily get lost. And effectively, there was a massive info dump while watching this. I mean, it wasn't like, let's say, Fate Zero's info dump or Fate Stay Night's info dumps like you would see in their beginning episodes, but at the very least, though, there was some info dumps, some setup, world building, little dialogue here and there between the characters that you could easily miss and lose because of everything else going on screen. So I feel like this series is not going to be for everyone just because of how it could get very complicated as the series carries forward, which I like stuff like this. Is one of the big reasons why I love Steins Gate. You can always get different, messages behind the scenes, and that's why I love Megalobox as well. There was always things going on behind the scenes besides just the fighting or action or whatever. You got some understanding of what was happening in the world. So I feel like this is definitely going to be a series for me. I definitely feel like this is going to be one of the best series of the season, and I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to episode 2. I'm definitely wanting to continue reviewing this series. If you guys want to see more Banana Fish reviews on this channel, let me know in the comments below, because I like it. Hopefully you guys like it, and so far, it really makes me just want to see where the story is going to go. So I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about the first episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please be honest. And how do you feel about everything that happened towards the end with, skipping all that to, the shot in the back of the head to that dude in the vehicle, to the motorcycle scene? Just let me know your honest thoughts. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.